Oh,
as
yeah, yeah.
well.
I also I don't if they should take more points than 5 for something like this because the change is gonna be big for every point.
Also, the x-axis doesn't even have numbers, so
Yeah.
there's that.
I mean, the rest is good though, for the most part.
Ryan was saying how it's weird that as time increases, some of the heart rates decrease, which doesn't make sense with exercise.
You never know.
Well, I mean, it could be between them like starting exercise and like stopping exercise. So like
Yeah.
the middle peak is like the peak of the exercise, and then afterwards it's like where they stopped moving or doing whatever.
Yeah, but the second graph though. The second graph.
It was like
Everything
pretty
is wrong.
illegible for a lot of it.
Bro, that's
Velocity and time should have been spelled out. I think it was supposed to be velocity. I couldn't tell if that was a V or not, but
the font, the boldness, everything. The
There were no,
points,
yeah, no
Yes.
yeah, the points being in the middle of nowhere as well. That was funny.
And Veronica made a good point that it's like it's way too smushed. Like you can't even see the points that like separated from each other.
yeah, so like the x-axis should have been between like 100 and 150, so you could actually like see it instead of starting at
Yeah.
0 and going to 150.
Even as just points, you should probably just connect them or something with a line of best fit or something similar.
Yeah, there should be a fit there. We know about velocity and time and how to fit that. Totally. Yes. Sorry about me disappearing repeatedly. I'm now not using wireless at all. Yeah, I agree with everything y'all have said. I wish I could share my screen and show you the list of things that I have placed for good and bad for each graph. Let me just list out what I thought was good about the first graph. I do like how they have diamonds for one data set and squares for the other data set. You can't always print in color. So you really should assume that your reader cannot always print in color. And so if you use a different data point, it makes that a lot easier to see. And also, instead of the red and green lines, it's actually better to have like a dashed line and a dotted line for those who are not going to be printing in color. Most people are going to be looking at things on screens, probably more in the future, so that'll be less important, but just to keep in mind, in case y'all didn't mention that. And I heard you talking about the, why is it going up and down? It would be good if it was something where they were like, sprinting until some point and then stopping so their heart rate went back down. It would be good to say that in the axis label and in the title of the graph and or figure caption if you had this in a paper. Okay, I'm not sure if you said these things, but we definitely need units on both axes. We're missing units like in parentheses with the symbol. It says it in words, but we usually put it with a symbol with parentheses. And there's no like numbers at all on the independent axis there. Okay. Anything else that we missed that somebody noticed was good or bad about this graph?
So if you write out the units, is that considered like fine, or would that be incorrect? And you should include them as a parentheses on the axis labels.
It's not incorrect. It's just not the convention. Like when I glance at a graph, I want it to be real clear, and almost always people put the units like, not the full word, but the symbol for the unit in parentheses next to the words that describe the quantity. Good question.
Should the title be more descriptive?
I think so, yes. I think the title should be more descriptive. We don't really know what was going on in this situation. It would be nice if they could tell us more. Yeah. Thank you, Selena. Anybody else? Okay, the second graph, I could find nothing good about it personally. Every single feature had a problem on that graph. I think y'all probably covered most of that while I was crashing. But let me go through the list really quick. We need to zoom in on the data. There should be a fit because obviously this is velocity in time. And we can predict, a linear relationship there. The axis labels should be words, and then we need units in parentheses after the words. There should be maybe a little bit less tick marks on the y-axis, or that could just be like stretched out vertically maybe in the y direction. The title should be words and fully describe what's going on here. The data points are a little bit big. They're kind of overlapping each other at the bottom, so they need to be small enough that they don't overlap each other, or we need to, increase the size of the graph so that, they don't overlap. We want to try to avoid color, but that's not really a big deal, but it's best to avoid color. And we need probably a couple more tick marks along the x-axis, like some minor tick marks maybe, or we could go ahead and put in some more major ones too. Did I miss anything?
Another thing is I realized I think it'd be better if they had, since the time is probably the independent variable, that one should probably be at the bottom.
Right, since there's no error bars here, we don't know what has the smaller uncertainty. So yes, totally, I missed that one. We should have the independent variable along the x-axis and the dependent variable along the y-axis. What else? Anybody else?
Is it important to add like how the first graph had like horizontal dotted pieces, so you can kind of line it up with the tick marks better?
Yeah, I think it's good to include grid lines. I think that's what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's usually good to include grid lines as long as you don't put too many, so it's like starting to get noisy and take over the image. They should kind of fade to the background and maybe be like a light gray color. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to put them there. It's not necessarily a rule, but it's a courtesy for sure. Did I miss anything else? Okay, well, the timing worked out there. We're supposed to stop now. We will talk about uncertainty propagation next time. So have a fantastic couple of days, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
See you later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.